In the 1970-1971 season, Chelsea FC was not just a football team, they were cultural icons of the bustling King's Road. After the historic FA Cup championship in 1970, the Blue Team embarked on an even greater journey, conquering the European Cup Winners' Cup. With a romantic football worldview, a blend of flamboyance, arrogance, and tenacious fighting spirit, they defeated the giant Real Madrid in the final in Athens to carve their name into history. It was a golden generation where young men not only played football, but also lived like rock stars. But 50 years have passed. The flash of the magical Athens night has long gone out. Behind those gold medals are haunting, fateful turns. Some became immortal legends, some found peace in foreign lands, and there were also heroes who fell before the game was over. Let's turn the pages of the lives of those kings of the King's Road of that year. Peter Bonetti. The cat is the first person we have to mention, the soul in the goal. In the 1970-1971 season, at the age of 29, Bonetti was at the peak of his career. He did not have a giant physique, but in return, he possessed extraordinary reflexes and the flexibility of a real cat. Throughout the Cup Winners' Cup campaign that year, Bonetti's hands were the last stopper, giving his teammates absolute peace of mind to show off their talents. He was the embodiment of dedication and loyalty, a silent hero who always knew how to shine when the team needed him most. His performance was not just about saves, but the art of judgment and courage. Away from the glory of the football field, Peter Bonetti's life is a picture of interesting contrasting colors. After hanging up his gloves, he did not choose the path of becoming a famous coach or a noisy commentator. Instead, people saw the Stamford Bridge legend spend time working as a postman on the remote Scottish island of Mull. The image of a former world-class goalkeeper who once faced Pelé, now cycling to deliver letters in the fog, brings a strange sense of peace. He chose to live a humble life, putting aside all fame to blend into ordinary life. He still loves Chelsea, still appears on anniversaries with a gentle smile, but he also appreciates the tranquility of old age. The contrast between a nimble cat flying in front of thousands of spectators and a slow old postman is proof of a beautiful soul, not bound by fame and fortune. However, the journey of that great goalkeeper had to stop. On April 12, 2020, Peter Bonetti breathed his last at the age of 78 after a long and courageous battle with a serious illness. His passing left behind endless sorrow, but the image of the cat flying in the goal will forever be immortal. John Phillips, a 19-year-old Welshman, accepted to be a quiet shadow behind the bright sunshine of Peter Bonetti. In the 70-71 season, Phillips only played 14 games, mainly when Bonetti was injured or needed a rest. But don't underestimate his role. With an ideal height and long arms, Phillips was a quality backup, always ready to put on the gloves and step onto the big stage. Phillips's patience at such a young age was a valuable quality. He learned every day from the great senior to perfect himself. John Phillips' life after football was not noisy in the newspapers. He continued his career at Chelsea for many more years before moving to smaller teams like Brighton or Charlton. Away from the field, Phillips chose a private life, away from the hustle and bustle of the modern football world. He is the model of the old professional players, playing for passion, dedicating himself, and when retiring, returning to being a normal family man. Without scandals, without shocking autobiographies, Phillips lived a simple life like the way he used to guard the goal, solid and unpretentious. It seems that the role of supporting actor on the field has come into his life, turning him into a silent hero in the middle of life. However, fate called his name too soon. On March 31, 2017, John Phillips passed away at his home after a serious illness at the age of 65. His quiet departure was like the way he lived, leaving in the hearts of Chelsea fans the memory of a loyal and dedicated guard. Stuart Houston, a 21-year-old Scottish defender, was a rather quiet name in that star-studded squad. In the 70-71 season statistics, his number of appearances was around 0, but his presence in that group is still part of history. Houston was a young player at that time, eager to assert himself, learning from world-class seniors. Although he did not get to play, the training sessions with Osgood and Hudson forged his character later. He is a representative of young talents who have to wait for their chance, experiencing the harshness of top football from the bench. Fate did not smile on Houston at Chelsea, but it opened another bright door for him at Manchester United. After leaving London, he became a mainstay of the Red Devils and even made the Scotland team. After retiring, Houston continued his association with football as a coach, leading Arsenal as interim and QPR. His life is a testament to the will to overcome difficulties. If one door closes, break down the wall yourself to find another way. He did not let the disappointment at Chelsea drown him, but used it as motivation to rise up. Today, at the age of 75, Stuart Houston is enjoying retirement, looking back on his career with the pride of someone who never gave up. Paddy Mulligan is a right-back, the 25-year-old from Ireland, a formidable drill. In the 70-71 season, he played 17 matches and contributed 1 goal. Mulligan is not only a defender who knows how to defend, he also has a modern attacking mindset, always ready to go up to support his teammates. Paddy's cheerful and sociable personality makes him an important factor in keeping the dressing room motivated. He plays football with pure joy, turning every match into an inspirational performance. Mulligan's career continued to flourish when he moved to Crystal Palace and West Bromwich Albion. But perhaps his love for the round ball never ended. After hanging up his boots, Mulligan did not choose to rest. He returned to his homeland Ireland and became a football expert and a prestigious commentator. His extensive knowledge and innate sense of humor helped him win the hearts of audiences through radio and television. His life was always filled with laughter and optimism, just like his generous personality on the field. Mulligan is proof that passion can be transformed in many different forms. Today, at the age of 79, Paddy Mulligan is still a respected figure in Irish football, a witty storyteller who always holds in his heart a burning love for Chelsea and the glory days of old. John Dempsey was the man at the heart of the defense, a 24-year-old Irish centre-back with rugged good looks and a powerful style of play. On that magical night in Athens in 1971, it was Dempsey who scored the stunning goal, a thunderous volley rarely seen by a centre-back that opened the door to victory over Real Madrid. He was a rock at the back, never shying away from a challenge and always giving his all in the challenge. Dempsey's long hair and bushy beard made him look like a Viking warrior wandering the London pitch, and he became a symbol of Chelsea's steely side at the time. After leaving Chelsea, Dempsey brought his adventurous spirit to the United States to play in the once famous NASL, where he faced legends like Pelé and Beckenbauer. But the most valuable thing about Dempsey lies in the later chapter of his life. When he retired from football, he did not choose the spotlight, but chose to share. Dempsey spent many years working at a center for the disabled and autistic children. The image of the once fierce center-back has now become a caring and patient man, caring for the less fortunate. The heart of the Iron Warrior turned out to be extremely warm and kind. Today, at the age of 78, John Dempsey is living his old age peacefully, occasionally recounting the story of the volley in Athens with the satisfied smile of a man who has lived a full life, both on the field and in life. Eddie McCreadie was the opposite winger, a 30-year-old Scottish defender, one of the club's longest-serving players. McCreadie was a tough, intelligent defender with a great reading of the game. Despite only making 14 appearances in the 70-71 season due to injury and competition, his influence in the dressing room was undeniable. He was a big brother, a moral support for the younger players, and a link between the coaching staff and the team. McCreadie's fiery Scottish spirit always urged him to fight to the last drop of sweat. After retiring, McCreadie's relationship with Chelsea turned a new page when he became the team's head coach during the most difficult period in the late 70s. He played a major role in rebuilding the squad and bringing Chelsea to promotion. However, a dispute over the official car caused him to leave the club in bitterness and move to the US, cutting off contact with Chelsea for decades. His life is a story of self-respect and unbreakable principles. He chose a secluded life in Tennessee, away from all the noise of English football. Today, at the age of 84, Eddie McCreadie still lives in the U.S., carrying both sweet and bitter memories of the team he devoted his youth to, a hero who chose to forget to find peace for himself. John Hollins, the man without lungs, took on an important role in the center of Chelsea's midfield. With 40 appearances and 6 goals in the 70-71 season, Hollins was the perpetual engine that drove the team's play. He worked tirelessly, present at every hotspot on the field, both blocking and launching attacks. His constant smile and exemplary professional attitude made him the most beloved player at Stamford Bridge. Hollins was the perfect combination of talent and virtue, a shining example for all young players to follow. After a glittering career spanning 2 decades and nearly 600 appearances for Chelsea, Hollins continued his footballing career as a coach, managing Chelsea himself and then Swansea City. His life was always closely linked to the ball, and he was awarded an MBE for his services to English football. Hollins lived a full life of service, always maintaining close ties with his former club and being an exemplary ambassador. He was a symbol of perseverance, of a loyal love for the blue shirt. However, the law of birth, aging, illness, and death spares no one. On June 14, 2023, John Hollins passed away at the age of 76. His passing was a great loss to the Chelsea family, but the legacy of an exemplary captain and gentleman of the pitch will be passed on forever. Keith Weller, a 24-year-old midfielder, was one of the most dynamic and modern players of his generation. With 36 appearances and 13 goals, an impressive tally for a midfielder, Weller was a formidable right-back. He had pace, technique, and a versatile finishing ability. Weller was not afraid to experiment with new things. From his playing style to his fashion sense, he was famous for wearing white tights when playing for Leicester later. He was the embodiment of unconventionality, of the desire to assert his own individuality. After his success with Chelsea, Weller moved to Leicester City and became a legend there before moving to the United States to play and settle down. In the land of the stars and stripes, he continued his coaching career and built a new life. Weller's life was a journey of constant movement and conquering new challenges. However, fate challenged him with another tough battle off the field. He suffered from a rare cancer, but faced it with the same optimism and courage as he played. However, the miracle did not happen. On November 13, 2004, Keith Weller passed away in Seattle, USA, at the age of 58. He passed away at a young age, leaving fans mourning a brilliant talent and a strong personality. Alan Hudson was a true artist in that squad. Only 19 years old in the 70-71 season, Hudson was a talented conductor with 34 appearances. He possessed a magical left foot, innate tactical vision, and passes that tore through the opposition defense. Hudson played like he was strolling, full of improvisation and pride. He was like a rock star lost on the pitch, representing the talented but also rebellious young generation of London in the 70s. But talent often comes with setbacks. Hudson's later life was a series of tragic ups and downs. Persistent injuries, conflicts with coaches, and a dissolute lifestyle prevented him from reaching the pinnacle he deserved. The biggest tragedy came when he was in a terrible car accident after retirement, which nearly killed him and forced him to undergo dozens of surgeries, living with persistent physical pain for the rest of his life. Hudson became a troubled man, writing books to vent his feelings and sometimes bitterly looking back on his unfinished career. Today, at the age of 73, Alan Hudson is still living and fighting the after-effects of his injuries, a fallen genius carrying within him the sadness of a lost golden age. Charlie Cooke, Chelsea's Prince of Scotland, was the man who held the key to the magic. At 28, Cooke was a master of dribbling. In the 70-71 season, with 31 appearances, he was the one who stirred up opposing defenses, creating explosive moments. It was Cooke who set up Osgood's goal in the FA Cup final the previous year and continued to be a source of inspiration in the Cup Winners' Cup. He played with such mischief and joy that he wowed every time he came to the stadium. After leaving England, Charlie Cooke chose America as his destination and built a legacy as great as his playing career. He is the co-founder of the world-famous carve coaching method, specializing in technical training for young players. From a football artist, Cooke transformed himself into a great teacher, inspiring and imparting skills to millions of children around the world. His post-football career was brilliant and sustainable, demonstrating a profound football mindset. Today, at the age of 82, Charlie Cooke is still living a healthy life in America, respected as a professor of football who has passed on the magic from his feet to the next generation. Peter Osgood, the King, is the brightest star in the sky of Stamford Bridge. At 23, Osgood is the embodiment of perfection. Tall, handsome, superb technique, and deadly goal-scoring ability. With 5 goals in the Cup Winners' Cup and 27 appearances, he is the terror of every European defense. Osgood not only scores, he shines. He is a symbol of glamour, an idol of the youth, a person who lives the life of a true superstar with strong alcohol, luxury cars, and surrounded by women. But like many stars of his time, life behind the spotlight was not easy for Osgood. He experienced the ups and downs of business, running a pub, and sometimes struggling to regain the feeling of being worshipped as before. However, the love of Chelsea fans never faded. He was always the king when he returned to Stamford Bridge. His generosity and charming smile remained with him until the last years of his life. However, fate arranged a dramatic end for Dempsey, the king. On March 1, 2006, while attending the funeral of a relative, Peter Osgood suddenly died of a heart attack at the age of 59. He collapsed right at the funeral, a sudden departure that shocked the entire football world. His ashes were buried under the penalty spot at the shed end so that he would forever be a part of the soul of this stadium. David Webb was a hero in big games. In the 70-71 season, Webb was 25 years old and played the role of a key tactical card. He could play as a center back, a right back, and when needed, he was ready to rush forward to play as a striker. In the first leg of the Cup Winners' Cup final that year, Webb scored the important goal against Real Madrid. He did not possess the skillful technique of Hudson or Cooke, but he had determination and a strange charm with the opponent's net. Webb was the type of player for life and death moments, someone who always appeared at the right time and place to rescue the team. Webb's post-playing career was as colorful as his playing style. He moved to Queen's Park Rangers, Leicester City, and then into coaching. He returned to manage Chelsea for a brief, turbulent period in 1993, showing a strong personality and not shying away from media confrontations. His life after football was that of a down-to-earth, straightforward man, a real estate businessman, and someone who always spoke his mind. Although not as sculpted as Osgood, David Webb remains an indispensable part of history in the hearts of longtime fans. Today, at the age of 79, David Webb has retired to live a quiet life, but his name is always mentioned when people talk about glorious nights in Athens or Old Trafford. Tommy Baldwin was the man who accepted to be the dark background so that Osgood could shine. In the 1970-71 season, at the age of 25, Baldwin was nicknamed the Sponge because of his ability to absorb pressure and act as a wall. He ran tirelessly, fought for the ball, and created space for his teammates. Baldwin did not score many goals, but his diligence was the catalyst for Chelsea's attacking play. He represented the silent worker who was willing to sacrifice his own ego for the good of the team. After leaving Chelsea, Baldwin's life was not full of roses. He wandered through small teams, faced financial difficulties, and ordinary life after the halo faded. Baldwin did not have great wealth or fame like some of his teammates, but he always maintained a pure love for football. He often appeared at club events with a gentle, humble smile. However, the journey of the diligent Sponge ended earlier this year. On January 22, 2024, Tommy Baldwin passed away at the age of 78 after a long illness. His departure, although foretold by his age, still left a sad silence, reminding us of the value of silent sacrifices that history sometimes accidentally forgot. Peter Houseman, the Blues crosser. In the 70-71 season, Houseman, 25, was a hard-working winger who was often criticized by home fans for his less flamboyant style of play than his teammates. However, few people knew that Houseman was one of the most effective players. He had annoying banana crosses and important goals from long range. Houseman was an introvert, gentle, and extremely sensitive. He silently devoted himself, silently endured criticism, and then shone when the team needed him. Leaving Chelsea in 1975 for Oxford United, Houseman began to build a solid career and participated in many charitable activities, helping the community. He was a kind and benevolent family man. It seemed that life would compensate him with peace after years of pressure. But a terrible tragedy struck. On the fateful night of March 20th, 1977, while driving home with his wife, their car was involved in a tragic accident. Peter Houseman and his wife both passed away, leaving behind young children. He passed away at the age of 31, the most beautiful age of a man. Houseman's death is a painful wound in Chelsea's history, a cruel reminder of the impermanence of human life. His legacy is not only goals, but also the endless torment of a talent and a beautiful personality that was taken away too soon.